seriously, I lied, though. I got caught. They told me there was going to be B-roll of Javonte Williams, and he wasn't there, right?
Yeah.
So he's not my best buddy. You know Florio is. And then you. Okay?
Yeah, that's all I want to be.
Oh, yeah, what's up? I'm here. It's Chris Sims Unbuttoned, and I'm with my third best buddy in the rankings, Ahmed Fareed. Yes, he's second, behind Mike Florio and Matthew Berry. You're not really. Not really.
No, you lowered me even more after that.
You're right.
We cut it off.
Tapping.
Yeah.
I added her in. But you're climbing the ladder, okay? You're getting there, all right?
I go as long as I'm in the top 10 of your work friends.
Yes.
Like, that's still significant.
You're above that.
Okay.
You certainly are. You definitely are. And that was actually a clip from last night in our post-game show on Peacock that Ahmed and I did. A little highlight show, always fun. What's up, everybody? Week 3 Monday podcast reaction time. What's going on? You doing good? You had to stay up late with me last night.
That was a quick night. Yeah, because we were doing the show until, 12:40, I think is when we got done?
Right.
I got home around 1:30.
Yep.
Fell asleep maybe around 2:30.
Right.
And now here we are.
All right. And you got here on time, and I didn't, as usual.
And you had no excuse this time.
No, well, I did have an excuse.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Well, I got pulled over on the way in. I was going to be late anyways, but I was pulled over, made me 30 minutes late instead of 10 minutes late.
So you texted us. You go, I'm going to be 20 minutes late.
Right. I texted at 10:20.
Yeah.
And I was leaving the driveway. Takes me about 18 to 20 minutes to get to the house from here.
So you were going to be 10 minutes late.
I was going to be 10. I was thinking, okay, I'll get there at 10:41, something like that. And then passed 2 cops on the side of the road, and I went, okay, I'm in the clear. And kind of hit the gas pedal again and kind of went around a corner, and they had another one. Those sandbagging son of a bitches.
That's crazy.
Yeah, but they were good. They were good. I got a warning. I got lucky. I got very nice. They're nice to the people in town here. So the fact that I lived in town, I think, helped me out.
Did it?
Yes. And he was very interested in my Tesla. So he was asking me a million questions about that. And it was good.
See, this is totally
Thank you to
unrelated.
Officer Berry from the Greenwich Police Department. He was very nice to me.
Totally unrelatable.
Yeah.
Everyone listening right now is like, unbelievable.
I know, right?
Sims.
I don't get pulled over a lot. So
that.
it was the first time in a while, actually.
So you had a good interaction.
Good interaction. Yeah. I support the police for sure. No doubt about it.
I don't know the last time I got pulled over. It's been a while.
It's been a while?
Yeah.
Yeah, my wife is really the one that gets pulled over in my family, and I love that because I can have that over her because usually I'm the one that's viewed as the crazy driver.
Does she know now? Have you let her know that you got pulled over?
I actually did because she called me just as I was getting in the parking lot here at work, and I told her, right. And but yeah, she's gotten a lot of free passes, let me tell you. So I'm still trying to catch up to her.
So it's been a crazy 12 hours here.
Crazy
doing the show,
12 hours,
pulled over by the cops, and now here we are going over the
you got
the
a
Sunday
monster
games.
drink?
I got which I'm not giving them up.
Right.
I'm just cutting back.
You're cutting back.
So I can
today
have
was
one.
a day you needed one.
Definitely needed one.
What time
today.
did you wake up this morning?
I think I got up. I set my alarm for 9.
9?
And I got up at 9. When did you get up?
I got up at 9 too.
Yeah.
Probably 9:08.
Yeah.
I think I hit snooze once, so I was kind of just laying there.
I didn't think I would need my alarm. I'll set it at 9 just in case I'm still sleeping. Oh, I was definitely sleeping.
Yeah.
Still. So, but here we are. We're awake, and Pete was up even before then, I'm sure, even though he was there with us last night, deep into the night.
Pizza soldier.
Pete has put together the rundown here. So we got all the games. That's our promise to you, the homie, is that we will go through every one of these games, and there were a lot of them. The early window there in that room, it's insane with all the games. We'll be at 9 going on at the same time.
Did we start bye weeks this week? Is bye week start this week? I hope so.
We need them.
Yeah, I would like to take 1 or 2 games off the slate. It does make it a little easier in all aspects of my life for sure.
So we'll go through every game. We got the damn okay. Give me the headlines. We'll start with some of the biggest games here. And there were some big matchups, although in the NFL every week, it seems like early on in the season, there's something interesting about every single game. And so that's what makes this job easy. But we'll start with the Dolphins beating the Bills by 2. What a game. Going back and forth. Keeg Meister tweeted in and said, wow, Fins and Bills going out, playing a playoff game in the regular season heat. The shot of Josh resting his head on Tua's shoulder was unreal. These guys balled. Did you see that shot?
I did, right.
That was kind of crazy.
Well, Tua, these are 2 great human beings. And if you're watching on our, YouTube page here right now, you see it. Yeah, those are good people. That's where, again, I hate that I'm labeled as the Tua hater, which I know I am. But either way, he is a good dude. There's no doubt about it. And Josh Allen. And I'm sure Tua's like, dude, you are unreal. What you did today is unreal, and what you do every week is unreal. So keep your head up.
Josh is going, do you think Chris will not like me anymore now if I lose too much?
Do you think he's going to like you over me now because you won?
Yeah.
You're my boy, Blue. Where do you want to start on this?
Exactly. Where do you want to start on this? Because I think, coming into this game, if you would have told me that the Dolphins were only going to score 21 against a Bills defense that was out, Phillips on the defensive line, Oliver was out, right? Micah Hyde, man, that sucks. Out for the year.
Big injury.
Out in this game.
Right.
And you got to face, as we have a moth flying around our set here.
Random. Look at this.
We got a new co-host.
Look at that.
That is weird. We've never had that before.
He's going to hang with the pod for a bit.
Let him be. He wants to listen to this breakdown.
He does.
That's going to be highly distracting. Now he's attacking you. Did you shower?
No, I did. I'm a habitual shower. I'm the kind of guy that showers like 3 times a day. Okay. Right? So you think like he's like dirty? He wants dirty people?
Hey Morgan, if this goes on for much longer, come up here and kill the moth. All right, we're gonna have that on our hands.
He's the one that doesn't put deodorant on. Go over there.
All right, let's go. We haven't even gotten to our first game yet. Moth, get out of here. We got a lot to do.
Oh no, dude, get out of here. It went in my coffee. Okay.
No. Just put him on the floor at this point.
We're good.
All right, we're back. Are you gonna drink that now?
I am gonna drink it.
Wow, that is insane. Did you see that moth fly into the coffee?
Yeah.
We're going to have to zoom in on that if we can get that. Turn that around by the end of that. Okay.
All right, let's get back to business.
Oh, my gosh. This is this is not what we needed to start the podcast.
Sometimes the blitz comes on 3rd and 10, and you got to react, bro.
But despite all the injuries, and they held the Dolphins pretty much in check for this game. I don't know. The Bills just shot themselves, and they stalled out at times. Give credit to the Dolphins defense doing some things that threw Josh Allen out of his rhythm. But was that shocking to you? I mean, they ran 90 plays, the Bills, and only scored 19 points.
Yeah, it is shocking. There's no question about that. I think if I had to make like a headline statement about the game, and I think you know where I'm going to go with this, was in mad respect to the Dolphins. I mean, I hope everybody knows that listening to this podcast, I think a lot about, we both think a lot of the Dolphins football team, the roster, Mike McDaniel, Josh Boyer, the D coordinator. But I will say, watching that game, at no point did I think that Miami was better than Buffalo. Even with the fact of Buffalo missing a ton of players and then players getting hurt throughout the game with cramps and not being able to play. I mean, there was 2 offensive linemen went down. Dawson Knox went down at one point. You mentioned, the 2 safeties being out. They're missing one of the corners. They're missing Jordan Phillips. They're missing Ed Oliver. I mean, it was an incredible, effort by them to play as well as they did with some of their key players missing. But at the same time, what an incredible effort to be on the field for 90 plays like the Miami Dolphins were. And I think really the biggest thing was, we kind of hit on this last night a little bit, is it just in the gotta have it plays, gotta have it moments. Miami made big plays. And I think that's what you can respect about Miami right now. One, they're showing the ability to kind of win and do things a different way. Really, week 1 was kind of, hey, we made a few plays on offense, but it was really the defense and the strip sack fumble against Mac Jones. Week 2 definitely wasn't the defense, and was the offense putting on a show, right? And then week 3, we kind of got a little combination of both almost. They don't have the run game going all the way, but man, Tua made some big-time 3rd down plays. And then I think the Dolphins just making some plays to hold the Bills out of the end zone, hold them to a field goal on one of the long drives. Of course, not score at the end of the football game, before they got the safety. And then, of course, at the end of the game in general. So that was surprising. But, either way, much like a lot of credit to Miami. And Miami, as we've discussed too, they just put a lot of pressure on you. They do. And because of their playmakers, I think they just go, hey, more pressure moments. One of these times, one of our guys is going to make the big play here. And it didn't really look that way throughout the day. But either way, they got the win, and it was impressive.
Did we show the time of possession stats and the number of play stats?
Yeah.
Here it is if you're watching. If you're not, I will read it to you. Time of possession for the Buffalo Bills, 40 minutes and 40 seconds. For Miami, it was 19 minutes and 20 seconds. 90 plays, that's what the Bills ran, to 39 plays. You see that, and you're like, there's no way
I know
that the Miami Dolphins won the game, but they did. 63 pass attempts from Josh Allen, tied for the 4th most in NFL history by a player to throw no interceptions in the game. Gary Griffith asks you, were Josh Allen's high number of pass attempts a reflection of the Bills reverting back to an offense last year that was unable to keep defenses honest with the run game?
Yeah, I do think a little bit. They got to find another avenue. Not that I know it's going to be Josh Allen-centric, right? We know that. They're not going to change a whole lot. But it can't be just him dropping back and, dissecting people. Then if they're not open, he's going to run around and do a whirly bird and a 360 and break a tackle. And that's just, to me, it becomes a little too much. It just becomes too much on his shoulders. They got to make the game a little easier for him, I guess, is my big thing. Now, whether that's the run or finding more screen passes to the wide receivers, whatever that may be, it can't just always be on him to make the incredible play, the incredible throw. He's the best quarterback in football right now. He was incredible in the game yesterday. But, when he's asked to do too much, he might miss an out route to win the game. Easiest throw of the game to maybe score a touchdown there. He misses the out route. Didn't really set his feet. We saw him actually miss a similar throw against the Tennessee Titans last Monday night. He missed a similar throw in the flat on like a 3rd or 4th and 1 that he missed to his left side. But, yeah, that's just my biggest concern is just not enough to think about at times. But I don't think it's going to change a whole lot because he is their best player, and I think they are in the boat of we think he's the best player in football. But it gets a little dangerous that way. And, when you're playing a defense like Miami, again, like we see, one blitz and, he holds the ball on too long. There's Javon Holland, strip sack fumble. We're on the 5-yard line. We score a touchdown, and we get a little momentum going in a game where it seemed like Buffalo had the momentum early and was kind of controlling things.
Yeah, Holland had 10 tackles in the game, a sack and a half, a couple pass defenses.
He's phenomenal.
Melvin Ingram, a couple sacks, forced fumble recovery. Emmanuel Ogbah, 4 quarterback hits. Of course, they were out on the field a lot, had a lot of opportunities to do that, but they did stay on the field. We saw it was a game where a lot of players had cramping issues, and it was hot out there, and on the sidelines they were getting help. So to be on the field for that game and for a lot of plays, give credit to the Miami defense.
Gutsy. That's what stinks about going to Miami in September when you're from the north. Just like it's going to stink for Miami when they got to go up to the northeast and things get cold. I haven't looked at their schedule when they're doing that, but it'll be tough for them too.
Some big plays again from Tua in this one. We got that 3rd and 22 when he hit Tyreek Hill down the middle again. I believe we have the next-gen dots.
Right, it was Waddle he hit down the middle.
45-yard pass to Jalen Waddle here. So they had a couple big chunk plays again, a week after having a ton of big chunk plays. And last week, I think some of the blame went on the Ravens on how they defended it.
Right.
Do you give more credit to the Dolphins or still blame on the Bills on how they defended this?
No, this is a really well-designed play, okay? That's the first thing. And then, Pete, if you get a chance here, just go back to the start or it'll replay itself. But here we go. If we can pause it too, Pete, this will help. All right, stop it right here if you can, right? All right, so okay, they're working on it. But either way, if you're watching this on YouTube, the big thing is it looks like it's like a single safety defense to start. You're going to see the safety split. It's Tampa 2, okay? And they have Tyreek Hill on the left with Sherfield, number 14, on the left. And they do a good job of kind of running a pass pattern combination to where, Edmonds is supposed to be the deep guy down the middle of the field. But they must know he's going to open to the 2 receiver side, so that is where, 14 and 10 are. And then they basically, as that Tampa 2 middle linebacker, is supposed to run down the middle and be the 3rd deep safety. What they do is they had Sherfield at about the 20-yard mark curl up. So they gave him a little hey, look at this bright, shiny prize. We might throw the ball here, on 3rd and 22. We might throw it for a 20-yard gain, and now he might catch it and be able to turn up and get the first down. Well, Edmonds, he sees that and stops. But within that, that's where we see Waddle get down the field. He bends number 4 out a little bit, number 4 being the backup, Jaquan Johnson, bends him out and then posts over the middle, and he's stuck in a very compromising spot because of the play design. So that, to me, is a Mike McDaniel special. Great call right there. And then great job by Tua, great pass protection, puts it out there. One of the better deep balls he threw all year, really.
There were so many crazy plays then too, because the Bills still had a chance. They missed a field goal. They had that pass, the short arm pass from Josh Allen down by the goal line, but then you had the butt punt, which is now that's trending. is trending nationwide.
It should.
The butt punt. And Mark Sanchez chimed in. I don't know if people saw this out there because, of course, famous for the butt fumble. And he tweeted, "Whoa, stay out of my lane, bro."
Yeah, whoa, that's I own the butt department in the NFL.
Which
okay?
It wasn't the punter, Thomas Morstead. It wasn't his fault. It was Sherfield.
It was Sherfield,
right?
Same guy we were just talking
Backing
about.
up, trying to use that kind of deep protection.
Exactly right.
He was too far back.
Personal protector in that scenario where it's like basically 12 yards between the line of scrimmage and the punter.
Yeah.
In a normal punting situation, he can shuffle back and evaluate things. Wait, where do I got to help out? In that situation, he can take 0 steps back. Like if you're ever in a special teams meeting, that's the thing they'll tell you. Like, hey, you're down here in this situation, personal protector, you can only go forward here. You can't let me go back and see who I can help out. That was, an unfortunate mistake there for them that opened the door for Buffalo one more time. And that's where you kept going, can Miami's defense really hold on here?
Yeah.
Are they ever going to get tired? But credit to them, they really didn't. They seemed like they were the more well-conditioned team on the field. This game is a game I got to go back and watch on film because it's hard for me almost to get my head around it. All right? And the fact of, how did the Bills lose, right? It just, like you said, the stats were there. I think we felt like they were in control of the game for the better part of the football game. But, like we said, I think, in some big moments, Miami came through. That's really what it is. The strip sack fumble and 2 drives for a touchdown, and that was it for the day. Mm-hmm. Where the Bills, we were kind of like, hey, they're moving up and down the field, and they missed a field goal, right? And, had a touchdown where Gabe Davis has it caught, and then Keon Crossan knocks it out. There just was opportunities right there, 5 or 6 plays where you just went, ooh, if that went Buffalo's way, I think they controlled the game and kind of win, and there's no problem. But it didn't, and you got to give credit to Miami with that.
And it wasn't like they had 5 turnovers or anything.
No, I know.
One lost fumble, no interceptions.
Yes.
Last thing, Tua hit at the end of the first half,
right?
Wobbly, falls. Right. I think a lot of people have seen the video.
Yeah.
People think, that's a head injury.
Right.
He might be done for the day. They say it's a back injury. He comes back, plays the second half. Looked fine. He did look fine.
Right.
To their credit. What do you think? What do you think is going to happen? What's the fallout of that play?
There's going to be some sort of fallout to where I would doubt that Miami followed the correct process. Just, and again, I'm not trying to accuse anybody here. I'm one that will sit here, and I'm the guy, this. If Tua wants to play, let him play. I don't care. I would lie every time my bell got rung in the NFL right now.
But it's to protect you from having to put yourself in that position.
You're right. I know it is. But I also want to be like, hey, I'm a grown man and I want to play. And I don't care they got my bell rung. I don't care. But, I would think that something was off about that issue. Again, the back, like we joked about last night, back doesn't cause you to be a bobblehead as you stand up. I mean, his head was literally bobbling. And then we saw his leg basically give out and collapse, right? 2 different times in a 15-yard walk, right? That to me does not scream back. Yeah, it was shocking to see him back in there. I'll be interested to see where that goes. But I would think that's going to be much scrutinized, certainly.
Played well, though, second half.
Yes,
got the win, 2-point win by the Dolphins over the Bills. It was also a 2-point spread between the Packers and Bucs.
Yeah.
Old man bowl.
Although
I feel bad saying that because we're older than Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, but we don't play a young man's game.
That's true.
Yeah, that's
podcasting.
Right. We're
an old man's game.
That's an old man's game. We're young men in an old man's game.
Packers got the win. Wasn't really anything, not many plays that jump out at you here. Bucs still had a chance to win it late. 2-point conversion failed for Tom Brady. So let's just start with Aaron Rodgers. And you have been pleading with the Packers offense and your guy Aaron Rodgers. Push the ball down the field.
Right.
Take some chances. Now, maybe the Bucs is not the defense to do that with, but they definitely didn't. 4.7 air yards per attempt for Aaron Rodgers, the second fewest in a game for Rodgers since 2016. They didn't need to.
No.
But they didn't do it again.
No, I think it was, I think we hit it right when we got done with the game. It didn't seem like he threw one ball down the field really aggressively at any point. But, again, there's no problem with that either. They were patient with the run. They obviously saw some defensive sets where they went, wait, Tampa's trying to have their cake and eat it here too. They're trying to play run defense, but kind of cheat on coverage. And that, to me, was the big thing of the game. We discussed this a lot on the highlight show last night where, it was a lot of RPO plays, runs called, where he went wait, the numbers are not right over here trying to cover our receivers. And they had cool little creative route combinations to where Rodgers could kind of act like he might hand it off. And then it's the quickest release in the history of football. I mean, that's where, again, his talent shows even on those type of plays where I go, there's not many quarterbacks that can do that. Just, get the ball and flick it and throw the ball 70 miles per hour in between two guys, that quickly, that aggressively, that on point. That's where Rodgers is special. I have no problem with the thing I like about it is at least they got the ball into some playmakers' hands, right? All right. I don't have a problem with it being downfield. I don't like when it's not downfield when I go, hey, there's downfield stuff there to be had, and then we're checking it down. That's my issue. Here it seemed like this was the game plan. He hit it on the run going. Their defense played great. It was an ugly football game, and Tampa's offense is certainly, injured and is trying to find its way a little bit in the passing game under Todd Bowles.
David Bakhtiari was back, giving him some protection there. I don't know how many snaps he played, but he was back there in the game. Romeo Doubs caught a touchdown, so that's going to be interesting to see.
That's what I mean. They got to get guys like him the ball. You're right. Go ahead. I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, 8 catches, 73 yards.
Right.
It's like how is Aaron Rodgers' development with Christian Watson and Dobbs and some of these new receivers? Lazard had another touchdown as the new number 1. So that's going to be telling.
It's encouraging.
It is.
They got to get those guys the ball. Watson, it's a shame he didn't get to play yesterday again because, he's behind the 8 ball here a little bit. But, yeah, I think Rodgers has to go out of his way to force these. He's going to need these guys. When it comes December, if he wants to beat the better teams in football, December, January, guys like Dobbs, Watson, they're going to have to make plays for this team because we're not going to be able to rely on Sammy Watkins. And Randall Cobb is what he is at this point. He's a solid football player, but nobody's going to, alter the game plan worrying about Randall Cobb that way. It's good to see Lazard out there. The one thing I'll just say is encouraging is these are the type of games that Green Bay I feel like doesn't usually win. These ugly, defensive struggles, just who out hits who, right? And this is something like the 49ers playoff game last year. It's that type of game where I always go, Green Bay never wins these. That's why I picked the Bucs to win. But that was encouraging, the fact that they were kind of gritty, ugly, and got it done, certainly.
On the defensive side, Devondre Campbell, who had a great year last year, you were somewhat skeptical coming into the year because you're like, where did that come from? He had a good game in this one. 14 tackles, that pass defense on that 2-point conversion. Right. So one point about the Buccaneers here.
Yeah.
They have scored 20 or fewer points in all 3 games this season. They just have 3 total offensive touchdowns. Now, they have some injuries in the receiving core, obviously.
Yeah.
Gage had a fumble in this game. Right. Perryman had a fumble in this game.
Right.
They shot themselves.
The ball, right. They were on the fringe field goal territory 2 times, and that kind of upset the drive. That certainly, could have made the game different in this type of setting. Sure.
So what do you think? When they get the receivers back, they should be fine?
I think they'll be fine. I don't think they're going to be like what we used to see the last few years, like what we saw at the end of the Super Bowl year or what we saw last year, 5,000 yards and 41 or 43 touchdown passes. I don't think we're going to see that.
Why?
Because I don't think Todd Bowles wants to play that style of football. Todd Bowles is going to be more about, wait, we're going to play a brand of if we have to play the Rams in the divisional playoff game again, it's not going to just be like, we're going to drop Brack and Brady's going to be looking over his shoulder and ducking down and throwing bad passes. I'm going to manage the game. We're going to run the ball. We're going to play in our defense and stay in it and let Brady be clutch at the end of the game to win it. I think that's the way they're going to play instead of we might lose control of the game because we're being so stubborn that we're going to throw it and be a pretty risk-it-biscuit passing team, right? I don't think Bowles is going to let them do that this year. So, they need to be healthy, as we know. And I was surprised with their lack of running game yesterday a little bit. I thought that they might still even be able to push around Green Bay and open up some holes that way. But, they missed the weapons. They definitely missed the weapons. And you see an environment like that, Brady – he needs the weapons, as I've always said. He can do more with more, but when it's less, he's not going to make a ton of plays off schedule or carry the squad that way. And, I think we've seen that a little here over the last 2-3 weeks.
Yeah, the 2-point conversion had to be from the 7-yard line.
That's
of the 2
like a shocker.
That was weird. And they kind of got lucky to get the touchdown play off because the play clock hit 0 on that one, too.
It did. Now, there's always that little wiggle room there. But there was I think a play before that was even down to the last second as well, where I was just going, man, I'm shocked about the lack of whatever, readiness, communication, whatever. And with the 2-point play, the thing that's shocking about that is you have to go on the 2-point play the whole way down the field.
Yeah.
So you should have that ready. I don't know what happened in the orchestration there, but yeah, certainly odd. And then when the play got blown dead at the 2-yard line, see, they had a look from Green Bay at the 2-yard line with Green Bay was going to stop the pass. Green Bay was doubling some receivers. They had a safety that was kind of in the middle of the field, but he was really going to bracket the slot receiver. So that's why, if you watch it back, Brady goes check, and they were going to run the ball right up the middle because there was lack of defenders there. So that takes that away once it goes to the 7, to your point, and then they flushed him out of the pocket. And Devondre made the great play like you talked about.
Maybe it was a combination of things, too. They were checking out of the play. It was late getting the play in for whatever reason.
Who knows? Exactly right. I'm sure we'll hear a little about it.
Cost them. They lost by 2 to the Packers. Packers get the victory there. The Eagles did not have to sweat out their game against the Washington Commanders, but Carson Wentz had to sweat the entire game, basically. 9 sacks by the Eagles defense, and a combination of things that you have said right here on this podcast, which, by the way, I'm going to list all the things where if people have listened to this podcast the last couple of weeks, things are not a surprise to them. Colts offensive line being one of those.
I hope people recognize that. Yeah, I mean, I hope they appreciate my hard work and my evaluation. I know I'm not right about everything, but I think, yes, we've been talking about the Eagles, right?
Yes.
And we've been talking about the crappy Washington offensive line.
Both things.
Right. And the crappy dust-up defense Del Rio on Washington's defense, okay? Though I will say this. I thought Washington would be able to hang in there a little bit because I was like, I think I love Philly's D-line. It's big. I didn't know if it's the greatest pass rushing D-line in the world. I didn't know they'd be capable of this right there. I'm not gonna lie about that. As good as I think they are, and as much as I love watching them, I did not think they were just going to totally steamroll Washington's pass. Washington's pass protection, has not been the worst. It's given them some chances. That's why they beat Jacksonville. That's why they came back a little bit against Detroit. I know Hutchinson got the 3 sacks in that game too, but this was just like, oh my gosh, I fear for your health, Carson Wentz. I mean, that's where it got to at one point in the football game. And like 24-8 is like, it's misleading, right? I mean, it just, at no point did we ever feel like Washington had any chance to win the game.
No.
And it felt like in the second half, Philadelphia kind of just took their foot off the gas pedal and was like, we're not going to risk anything, and we're just going to win the game, and we'll see you next week.
9 sacks, 17 quarterback hits. Brandon Graham had 2.5 sacks in this game. But the offensive side, I think, is really kind of what...
It's the star of the show.
That was
right,
the star
right?
of the show for Philadelphia.
Right.
And Jalen Hurts is the first player with 900 or more passing yards and 100 or more rushing yards through 3 games since at least 1950. Pete couldn't be bothered to go back before 1950. We just stopped.
Yeah, we stopped
right there. But he has been insane. Oh, boy. Clenda Du Cap?
Yeah.
Says, why isn't Jalen Hurts considered better than Josh Allen? There you go.
Right.
No, Josh Allen's never done those numbers before.
Yeah. No, see, this is where you got to get, like, one guy is the team, the other guy is an important cog of the football team. This is where, I get made to sound like a hater of Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts is really good. There's no doubt about it. All right? There's no question, but to put him in the class of Josh Allen is not fair to Josh Allen. And I like Jalen Hurts, don't get me wrong. But literally everything Buffalo does is through Josh Allen. They don't have a run game. They have nothing. It's all Josh Allen. Philadelphia would still be dominant even if Jalen Hurts wasn't in there. That's what I'm trying to point out. Now, he makes them more dominant, okay? I'm not trying to take anything away from him, all right? And keep me real and honest here, Ahmed, all right? And his skill set allows them to put you in more pressure because of his ability to run and all of that too with the way their team is set up. But again, this is where, guys like Lamar and Josh Allen are carrying the offense. Everything is built or not built around them, and we just go, well, they can't run, but Josh will figure it out. Josh will scramble. We'll pull a guard, and Josh will run, and when we need him to, or he'll just make an amazing escape, and they're not asking Jalen Hurts to do that. Philadelphia is more on the terms of this well-oiled machine that's unstoppable, okay? And then Jalen Hurts, of course, accentuates it to a degree, but it's different than Lamar Jackson or Josh Allen or Patrick Mahomes, where everything is about them and their play. And that's where it's different. So I hope I say that correctly. I'm trying to explain this to people because, again, people get so caught up in this and they just think win and, it's the quarterback. Sure. It's really good. Don't get me wrong.
You look at the numbers, though, and it was Hurts was bottled up running the football. Right. 9 carries, just 20 yards there, but threw for 340 yards on 22 completions.
Because Washington has to go all out to stop the run. So now what's that do, Ahmed? It leaves 2 freaky receivers that you could argue are freakier than any receiver that he has on his team up in Buffalo, right? Stephon Diggs is really good. He's awesome. Great route runner, all that. Is he the physical freak that A.J. Brown is? No. And then Devontae Smith can fly. So that's what I mean. Josh Allen doesn't have the luxury of, you guys have to stop out. You have to go all out to stop our run or you have no chance. And now you get, elementary looks in the secondary to throw against. Josh Allen doesn't get that. It's a very great conversation. I don't mean to sound, chippy about it.
Sure.
But it's something I have to answer a lot, and I'm always kind of shocked that people don't see it. It's always funny to me because I watch college football on Saturdays, and people see it in college football. No one's going, the quarterback of Georgia, why is he not the first pick of the draft? He's not the first pick of the draft. He's not the first because he's the part of a great machine, and he's just he just gets a completion, and they win the game, and blah, blah, blah. I know that's not to this point, but I'm just saying in the NFL, for whatever reason, it's just we give everything to the quarterback, and I'm just saying there's more to it here with this situation. But he's doing really awesome. Yeah. I don't want that to be taken for granted.
Would you give me this, though, that maybe Jalen Hurts would be in the 20-ish on the Chris Sims quarterback rankings? I don't know where he was last year. But for the Eagles, to be the Eagles quarterback in this system, to do what he does, both with his legs and his arms and his leadership, for the Eagles, he's a top 10 quarterback for the Eagles.
He should have been higher. I mean, I should have made him higher. He's obviously proved me wrong there. I had him at 25. He's better than I gave him credit for.
He's climbing up your rankings.
He's made improvements throwing the football, certainly. Oh. But this is where you're going to get me in trouble too.
Yep.
No, yeah. Again, Gardner Minshew came in last year for Jalen Hurts, and that offense was awesome, and they marched up and down the field against everybody. This is what I'm trying to explain to people. This is a great football team. It's the best roster in football. The only question we had was the quarterback. It's the only question, too, to the question of at Clenda the Cap, right? Is that who it is?
Yeah.
At Clenda the Cap. Listen, there's a reason Philly has looked to replace Jalen Hurts for 2 years in the offseason. They've tried to. There's things that concern them about him. But hopefully he can, ease those worries, and he's doing that right now, and he's really good. He's going to look like this almost every week. Didn't I say this before the year? I said this. They're going to be 10-2. They're going to be the number 1 seed in the NFC. He's going to have – they don't play anybody that can physically with them on that side of the ball. So he's going to get a lot of good looks. Now he's doing a really awesome job. I don't want to take that away. But he's not asked to do some of the other things or make some of the throws that Lamar is, that Mahomes are, that Josh Allen is. He's not, and that's where I'm trying to explain to people, and maybe they'll see it, maybe they won't.
MVP.
Well, he could certainly do that.
That chatter's going to be there if they keep playing like this.
There's no doubt.
My MVP for this game, and it was my damn okay on our Peacock show.
Right.
Man, I loved watching Devontae Smith in this game. I mean, A.J. Brown's awesome, right? He used his body great on that slant, and you're not going through him to get the ball down by the goal line. What a great play and throw by Hurts there. But Devontae Smith showed it all. Speed, hops, contested balls.
Yeah, little physicality.
That was awesome.
It was awesome. That's, to me, again, the other thing is, we got to stop the run. Oh, wait, we got to take away A.J. Brown. Oh, shit, we're one-on-one with the other guy on the other side, let alone, Dallas Goedert, who's an incredible pass-catching tight end. And then the rest of the group's not that bad either. So that's where, they put you in a real bind. And then you couple that with how Shane Steichen calls the game, and they put you in some spots where you go, oh, man, I don't want to have to play this defense right here against this crew, but I have no choice, or I'm going to get gashed by something else they do. And that's what you're seeing. You're seeing teams pick their poison a little bit and going, we're not going to just die the slow death and let them run the ball and kill us. We're going to play some run, and we're going to see if Jalen Hurts can make the throws, right? That's what you're seeing right now. And he's saying, okay, keep doing that. We'll see. I'll keep proving you wrong. And he's doing a great job. And like I've always said, he's a very good deep ball thrower, and he always gives his guys a chance. And that's he throws it high, he puts it out there, and we're seeing those guys could go up and get it.
Certainly a dynamic offense. At least it looked like it on the field in their game yesterday. We have said that for many years on this podcast and everywhere else about the Kansas City Chiefs' dynamic offense.
Yeah.
Of course, they no longer have Tyreek Hill. They only put up 17 in this game. They lose to the Colts 20-17 as we transition over into the section that Pete has titled Winless No More. That's huge. The goose egg is off the back of a lot of teams out there, including the Colts. We'll get to them in a second, but the Chiefs go down. That's always going to be the headline throughout football. You walk away from this game. Are you worried about the Chiefs and what you saw in that game?
I'm not worried. I mean, I have this. It's almost like the same worries we've always had with the Chiefs a little bit. Tyreek Hill or no Tyreek Hill, it doesn't really matter, right? To me, it's just like the lack of the offense is the concern. Like Buffalo, first off, I don't trust them whenever they get close in the red zone or it's a 3rd and 4th short situation. They're not very good that way. But I think it's the they just call plays at times too. You've heard me say this about some offenses. This is another thing with Kansas City. Like after watching the Chargers game last Thursday night and watching that on film, from what I could see in the game yesterday, they just call plays and they go, we're calling plays and we're just going to be aggressive and we have talent and Mahomes will make it happen. But there's not any plan of attack on anything. I don't go, oh, they're playing Seattle cover 3 and they're running a bunch of, Seattle cover 3 beaters and just tearing them apart. No, they kind of just like we talk about. It's, hey, here's a deep cross and here's a post over the top and here's another guy faking the deep cross and then running out. It's just a cool play. We like it, and Mahomes has talent and our receivers are talented and it'll just work. But it's a little predictable in the spots of where they attack and where they play that way. So that's where I get concerned. And then a little bit I'll say this too, if I had to make another headline statement about a game here, it'd be just like we said with Miami. I never felt like the Colts were the better football team. There was a handful of plays where you just go, oh, if Kansas City makes this play, the game's over. It's over. Whether it's the touchdown catch at the end of the game, there was a few moments throughout. But yeah, their offense concerns me in the fact of, if they don't get teams that play them a certain way, they look less than. If you don't play them a little bit of aggressive and give them some chances to push the ball down the field, then all of a sudden they start to look, a little bit arbitrary that way. And then when you drop a punt and give a short field touchdown and you miss a field goal and then you fake a field goal on 4th and 11 and then you get a penalty for talking mean to the quarterback. There were some bullshit calls on Kansas City at the end of the football game. Then you lose a game on the road in Indianapolis.
Yeah, that penalty was on Chris Jones, kept the drive going. The game-winning drive turned out to be for the Colts. But there were so many other mistakes, too, from the Chiefs in that. Special teams missed field goal, missed extra point, a weird fake on a 4th and 10 with the punter trying to convert. I don't know if that was called or if they saw something.
I don't.
Strange.
It looked like it was called. I didn't think it was like it was something where, I bobbled the snap and now I'm, going fire, fire, fire to let people know, we're doing, we're doing the fake here. So yeah, that was odd to me. The defense certainly played good enough for them to win the football game.
100%. They
bottled up the run game. They harassed Matt Ryan, right? They caused a few strip sack fumbles on him. He lost one of them. They had their opportunities. They really did. They just didn't take advantage. They made some mistakes, and I think it's just too spotty, the offense. I think that's the biggest thing I come to. It is. It's too spotty at times, and it like I said, it's just. It's a lack of attack or a plan of attack and surgicality, I think, that bothers me. They're a little bit just, hey, they're maybe arrogant. We just call plays and it's going to work. And, okay, cool, but they're playing you this way, and those plays that you're calling today, they're not going to work against the way they're playing you. So we got to come up with a different plan and attack it a different way. And sometimes you just don't see those adjustments from Kansas City.
A lack of surgicality.
Are you right?
That's got to be a new one. Have you done that one
before? I don't know. I think I probably have. But yeah. It's another one it's hard to put that's really what it comes down to me in a lot of times.
Yeah.
And I hope I'm explaining that the right way.
I did think at halftime, it was kind of interesting, and Jerry Charles did see this as well. He goes, what do you make of the sideline argument between Mahomes and Eric Bieniemy? Is that a bad sign for the Chiefs offense? So it was like 20 seconds left.
Right.
Mahomes they were almost at midfield.
Yeah.
couple completions. They're in field goal range now. We saw what happened with their kicking game. They might not have made the field goal, but Mahomes was visibly upset, and he said so after the game that he wanted to keep the foot on the gas, and it was a 3-point game. At the end.
Well, yeah, it's. I understand that. That's the way they play. I got to think the field goal kicker was part of that situation. I mean, he's done nothing to give them a ton of confidence, and even in the first half, there were some moments too of just shaky play by Mahomes in the offense too, to where I think they were just like, you know what, let's get in and call it a day right now. I mean, they weren't exactly like juggernauts in the first half either. This is where you got to remember. They have a touchdown drive that was a 4-play, 35-yard drive, right, after the strip sack, right? And then the other touchdown drive at the end of the first half was a 5-play, 21-yard drive. And what was that? That might have been the strip sack. The other one might have been the go for it on 4th down. I gotta make sure I got this right here because this is going to drive me crazy here. Yeah, so I got it here. 2nd and 9 to make it 14-10 was the strip sack on Matt Ryan. So that added a 5-play, 21-yard drive. 5 plays, 21-yard drive to go up by 4 points, 14-10 at that point.
The drive before that was a 10-play, 28-yard drive.
Right.
Yeah, they weren't really
10-play, 28-yard drive, right? And that's what I mean. There was a lack of big plays.
Yeah.
And even on the 4-play, 35-yard touchdown drive to give them and make the game, I believe, 7-6, right? I just want to make sure that was another, strip sack, right? That was another strip sack on Matt Ryan. Am I correct about that? Yeah, it was a 4th and 1, and he got sacked there. So it was short fields, and I really thought that this was an offense that was going to have its way with the Gus Bradley defense. They did last year and the Raiders. I'm going to be interested to see what Indianapolis did to kind of change things up on that side of the ball that made things hard on Mahomes and company.
We got to get to the next game, but last thing here. You called it last week. You said that Colts offensive line, we've been hyping them up for years, and they have been good for years and opening up holes and pass protecting for the quarterbacks. Gave up 5 sacks, 10 quarterback hits on Matt Ryan, who did pull it together in that game-winning drive. He was 8 of 10 for 55 yards, so give credit there.
Yeah.
But they still have – they won this game. Congratulations.
Yeah, right.
Still some issues, correct?
Definitely issues. It's like nothing looks good about them right now. Hey, the defense, way to go, way to hang in there, certainly. But at the same time, it's concerning with the way he looks. It's concerning that they can't find more ways to make explosive plays in the pass game. And, the running game is just okay. It's nothing special. And Kansas City whipped their butt up front. There's no question about that.
Close game out in Tennessee land, Nashville.
Tennessee land, huh?
Yeah, I was trying to figure out where this game was. It was in Nashville, right? Yeah.
Yes, it was.
Yep.
Yeah.
So the Titans win at home for the first time. They have won this season. Didn't want to drop to 0-3 for the first time since 2009. So it's the Raiders that have dropped to 0-3 now, 24-22. Although it got close late. Derek Henry got going in this game. 20 carries for 85 yards. Was a part of the pass game, though, as well. 58 yards through the air. Some good plays by Tannehill. They grinded out a win. It was a much-needed win. I think that there are still probably things that Mike Vrabel is concerned about, but boy, oh boy, of both these teams needed a win. One team was going to get it, and the Titans walk away with it. What do you think from this game?
I think the Tennessee at least got back to like the formula that we know was successful for them. I think that's the encouraging thing. Really, there was points in the game in the first half, really, where I went, they're unstoppable. There was nothing they could do. He was running the ball at a good clip every time he got the ball that way, and they were hitting big play action passes with Ryan Tannehill. That's when they're at their best. I mean, I literally, at one point in my game, I just went, Titans are doing whatever they want on offense right now. That made it 24-10. Slowly but surely, the Raiders started to kind of pick them apart in the second half, got some things going. It seemed like Tennessee kind of took their foot off the gas pedal a little bit. What happens in a lot of these games too is, one team just starts to play on the edge. Wait, we're in trouble here. We're down 24-10, so you take a few more chances and risks while the other team is trying to play, wait, we don't want to take too many risks and let them back in the game with 1 or 2 dumb mistakes right away. And that looked like is really what kind of happened throughout this one. And then, Derek Carr and company kind of got in a little bit of a rhythm in the end of the game and made things very close. I mean, really close. But Tennessee, I'm still hopeful about them.
Yeah,
I am.
No Taylor Lewan.
I know. It's going to hurt.
For the rest of the year.
Yes, that hurts. Their O-line is not going to be as dominant. There's no doubt about that. But I'm not going to give up on them quite yet. And I think when their defense kind of gets totally healthy here, I got faith in them that they're going to make life hard on some quarterbacks too.
So you're going to give up on the Raiders. That's the question, because they had some mistakes. Derek Carr made some good plays, but had the pick in the end zone off multiple hands and
the
Waller.
tip pass,
so that was a pick, and they didn't convert the 2-point conversion late. That would have tied it. Another tip pass there, although they did hit Mac Hollins for some big plays, including 48 yards on the 4th and 15. Got a question here from Tripod2X.
Yeah.
Says the Raiders have struggled in the red zone. Is this a Derek Carr thing, question mark?
I don't think it is. I think it's probably Derek Carr getting used to a whole new way of life and how the red zone offense is for Josh McDaniels and that approach. I would think that's part of it. Teams are, hey, they put you in, some tough binds there, and we've seen some teams, we talked about it last week, where they do some creative things, worrying about Waller, worrying about Devontae Adams.
Yeah.
And I think that's probably given them a little issue there too. Carr just has yet to seem to find his rhythm within the offense completely.
Yeah.
It hasn't been bad, but like we talked about in week 1, there's moments of staying on receivers too long or staring a guy down. I think he's still kind of finding his footing within the system that's totally different than anything he's been a part of in his career.
But Tripod2X does also note in his question, John Gruden, Josh McDaniels, Greg Olsen, Bill Musgrave, doesn't matter the OC. He has had trouble for years, and they are 26th in the red zone this year. They have not been higher than 22nd in the past 5 seasons. Can you put that on the shoulders of Derek Carr?
Well, maybe. I would put it in a lot of years on him, maybe lack of throwing lasers or throwing the fastball down there a little bit, making some aggressive throws. I don't find that to be – I think McDaniels, and I think I said this in week 1, he's been firing. That's the one thing that's, I think, really good. The thing that hurts them, too, a little bit is, they're not great at pass protection, and they don't have a run game that teams really respect once they get in there. All right, so, here we are. We're inside the 7-yard line. The safeties aren't as deep now. Things are close to the line of scrimmage, so now they can react to the run game really quick, and there's no threat of that down there to go with the rest of their offense yet that I think is going to make things, open up and a little bit easier that way. So I think we're going to see a lot of games like this from the Raiders. The Raiders, to me, it was a miracle last year they got in the playoffs to a degree. This year, it's, a different coaching staff. And as we've said, I don't think this coaching staff has the type of players they want quite yet. And they're going to be a pain in the butt, but I think they're going to lose a lot of heartbreakers as the year goes on.
They've already done that.
Yeah.
They've lost their 3 games by a total of 13 points, and so they have been close but winless so far. The Bengals were winless before they played the New York Jets. They got a win, a pretty easy one. 27-12 was the final score. A lot of things working. Trey Hendrickson on the defensive side, a couple strip sacks. Joe Flacco, who seemed oblivious to the fact that there were people around him trying to tackle him.
Yeah,
that was a problem.
It definitely was a problem. I mean, I should have said that about Matt Ryan too in the Colts game a little bit, but yes, Flacco. It's like the gift and the curse. His ability to block out the pass rush is very impressive, but the fact that he blocks it out to such a degree where you're like, wait, no, that guy that just ran by you, he's not going to stop. He's going to come back and try to get you, and he'll just still be looking down the field and patting the football, and he is oblivious to it at times. To where, it's there was 3 fumbles. He was close to fumbling 3 other ones. I know he lost 2 of them, but the story of the game is not. We knew the Cincinnati D was good. Cincinnati's D has been good the whole year. They've been playing plenty good for them to win a football game. They finally made some plays on the offensive side of the ball. And then the pass rush for the Jets wasn't so overwhelming that it allowed Joe Burrow to dance around and make a few plays to where he wasn't just like, whoa, I got to make this guy miss. Whoa, I got crushed. Like, he at least had some room to operate a little bit, and he made a lot of plays like that yesterday.
So the stat still did note that he was under pressure 13 of his pass attempts. 3 touchdowns in those 13 pass attempts.
Wow.
The first career time that he has had multiple touchdowns when classified as under pressure.
Okay.
So he did make some of those touchdowns. I can't believe that Jamar Chase one was under pressure, though. They left. Remember that the Jets
the one
got
they didn't
messed
cover him.
up.
They're calling that as a under pressure throw. I gotta remember. Yeah.
Pete, I guess they're calling that under pressure.
Well, maybe somebody was off the edge there real quick and
Maybe.
came free, and he got the ball out. I gotta look at it again. But
I'm holding Pete responsible for this under pressure stat for the Bengals right now.
The
Pete's
big play
neck is
Bengals once again resurfaced. That's
Yeah.
the big thing. They got the ball into the receiver's hands. It looked like the Jets made a conservative effort not to let Chase, gash them in the pass game.
Yeah, he only had 29 yards on 6 catches.
Yeah,
so
it seemed like there was
that's
a plan
win.
there, certainly.
Yeah.
And then, but hey, Boyd and Higgins, they're hell of a players too. And that, the all-out blitz where he hit Boyd for the long touchdown pass. That was, really the part of the game where you went, things changed a little bit, and you felt like Cincinnati kind of controlled the game from that point on.
Sean Stevens says, is Robert Saleh now on the hot seat? The defense has had too many communication breakdowns, and there doesn't seem to be any adjustments being made in-game.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm going to go in the hot seat yet. Their defense is better than it's been, but not special. I will say that. And that a lot of young guys, a lot of new free agents. There's a lot of rules in that defense, okay, that I think is new to guys, and they're still working out the kinks there. But, yeah, they have to be – we talked about this a little last year, a little bit worried or at least cautious of not being a little too predictable with how they play and changing it up, changing the looks, changing the coverages a little bit. That, to me, has been their biggest problem in the Saleh era. They play hard, they're physical, but they can become a little too predictable, and that leads to some of these big plays that we see quarterbacks make against them.
Now, speaking of the hot seat,
yeah,
I'll bet the hottest seat is Matt Rule in Carolina.
Yeah.
10-25 as a head coach coming into yesterday's game against the Saints. They had the danger of falling down to 0-3. They got the win, got out to the lead. 22-14 was the final score, thanks in part to a Alvin Kamara early fumble.
Yep.
Marquise Haynes took it back 44 yards. A 98 taking it back. He was fast for a 98.
He was
one
fast
of the
for
faster
a
98s I think that
you've ever
exists
seen
in the NFL. Maybe, yeah, you're right. In NFL history, gave Carolina the early lead there. So obviously some concerns here for the Saints, but let's just start with Carolina because, man, that was much needed. They snapped a 9-game losing streak. It was a 7-game home losing streak. Of all teams that really needed a win, I mean, Carolina might have been up there number one.
I would, yeah, they definitely were up there. It's a win. They got a win. That's great, but there's still things where you just go, I don't know. Can they really win games consistently like this? I mean, their offense sucks. I don't know any other way to say it. It sucks. They don't do anything. Yeah, they got the strip sack that got them up 7-0, and then it was 2 ugly field goal drives where they just barely patch it together with an ugly run or one completion here or whatever.
One highlight, Laviska Shenault.
Laviska Shenault was the big play of the day in the pass game. So, but yeah, that there seems to be no rhythm there. The run game, okay, McCaffrey had a solid day. There's no doubt about that. But yeah, I still worry about it overall. I don't go, oh wow, they righted the ship here. Watch out for them. I mean, there's too many times in my notes where I wrote the Panthers, not doing shit. Right? I mean, they couldn't do anything at certain points of the football game. But, put it together. And I think the big thing is it just didn't make big mistakes like New Orleans did. And New Orleans, between that fumble, right, had a field goal blocked, had another short field goal missed or, a makeable field goal. That was a huge part of the football game. The Saints actually moved the ball between the 30s and stuff and made some plays, but just couldn't capitalize altogether.
Is Jameis back to being Jameis Winston? Get it? Do you get it? Just thought of that. 5 interceptions in the last 2 games, 3 interceptions in his first 8 starts with the Saints. Of course, no Sean Payton. People are going to make a connection there. What do you think with Winston?
They miss Sean Payton. I think that's pretty clear at this point. Not that last year they were like this unbelievable offensive juggernaut without Drew Brees, but we saw a few plays and an attitude about their offense that got it done. Sean Payton, that's the one thing you can count on him. Creativity, a few plays to go, hey, up yours, I got this play this week. And then, like, Sean Payton's toughness as a man showed with their football team. And they were tough at running the football and had a physical nature about them. Alvin Kamara does not look quite the same to me. Their run game does not look as dominant, and their offense. I don't want to blame it on Jameis. It just doesn't seem to have quite the same flow it did with Sean Payton, and I think that's something that they're probably in the process of working on.
Baker Mayfield just 170 yards to switch back to the Carolina offense here, and George Nilsson says, is Baker giving DJ Moore the Odell treatment?
I can't imagine. Right? I mean,
1 catch for 2 yards in the game.
This is Ben McAdoo treatment. I mean, this is what Odell was mad in New York, right? Because he couldn't get the ball under Ben McAdoo all the time. They have a problem getting their playmakers the ball in space, and letting them make some plays that way. Even the long play by Laviska Shenault, it's as basic as it gets. It was 3 receivers to the left, okay? The two outside receivers ran a slant. Laviska Shenault ran into the flat at 1 yard. It's the most basic concept in football, all right? But, the Saints were trying to disguise it. The safety came down late to cover Shenault man-to-man. He was in space. He made that guy miss. And then Honey Badger decided he didn't want to tackle him in space because he was like, whoa, that guy's big and fast, so I'm going to give it the OLA treatment here. And that was off to the races. But, yeah, that's an issue for them. How DJ Moore needs to have the ball in his hands 8-10 times a game, whether it's reverses, speed sweeps, toss sweeps like Deebo Samuel. But they're doing themselves a disservice by not giving him the ball.
Did have 6 targets, only 1 catch though, in the game. Carolina did get the win, though, despite the lack of production from one of their playmakers. The Falcons got the win. They got production from a couple of their playmakers in this game. Kyle Pitts, 87 yards. Cordero Patterson, who you love, Cordero.
I love him.
You were gushing about him in our screening room there.
Yeah, Cordero is he's just a no-nonsense, downhill, runs with his hair on fire running back. And, I think you couple with that with the fact that, hey, they got a pretty physical offensive line there in Atlanta. That's one of the bright spots of the football team. Mariota's ability to run the ball a little off that. It's a dangerous aspect of their offensive game plan. And then, to a certain extent, or a poorer man's extent of like Philadelphia, they get you in those molds, and then it's one-on-one with, Pitts. Pitts early on was phenomenal, and Seattle adjusted, and then it seemed like we saw Drake London take over the show a little bit in the second half of the football game. But I wasn't surprised they won this football game.
Yeah.
I don't have a whole lot of faith in Seattle's offense as a whole, and we know their defense is nothing special. I think, Mariota, London, Pitts, they were, and you said a Cordero Patterson, they were the difference in the football game and just making more plays in some big moments than anybody on Seattle did.
Career high 141 rush yards on 17 carries for Patterson in this one. Hunter J. Barlow says, what is going on with the Falcons? They might not get the top pick in the draft. I didn't even think they would be respectable. I think a lot of people probably would have put money on either Houston or Atlanta getting the number 1 pick, and they look like they might be downright average. Could have won there. They came back against the Rams last week.
Right.
Had that lead against the Saints week 1.
Yeah.
What'd they win last year? They won a surprising number of games
last year, right? To me, the star of their shows is their coaching. Arthur Smith is a really good offensive football coach, and his toughness as a man shows on their football team. And then Dean Pease, he's creative too. And one thing you can count on Dean Pease, like if you're too simple on offense, he's going to break down that formula. And he's one of those guys going to have people dropping in the right spots and everywhere. So yeah, they're respectable. I think they're going to be like in a lot of games like this. If it's not the Seahawks, they'll probably lose a lot of them. But like we're always going to come away going, man, Atlanta, they're no pushover. I do think you're going to see that a lot through the year. I just don't know if they have enough playmakers on either side of the ball to consistently win games.
They do what they do really well. What we do on this podcast is a section called Damn.
Damn.
Okay.
Damn. I'm okay. Damn. I'm okay.
Yeah, no, yes.
I'm okay.
The legal gambleizing.
Oh, baby. I am Chris Sims. I'm okay. Damn. Okay.
Damn, okay.
Damn.
And we start with our Sunday night football game.
Whoa.
A high-scoring affair. One team scored 11, all the way up to 11,
Whoa.
right?
That's a hell of a baseball game.
They turned it up to 11, like Spinal Tap, a movie I've seen. I'm very proud of myself. Broncos beat the 49ers 11-10. We're going to give the damn okay, got to be a defensive guy. We're going to give it to Patrick Surtain, the second. 0 completions allowed on 6 targets, although that was against a 49ers passing attack that looked very, very, very bad. Derek Weatherford asks, did Jimmy struggle because of a lack of training camp or because it's Jimmy? Thanks, guys. Great podcast.
It's a good question. I do think the lack of a training camp certainly hasn't helped the situation. He wasn't given a playbook, right? Like we talked about last night. They did not expect him to be there. He did not take one practice rep in training camp until, the week before the NFL, the first opening game of the year, right? So, yeah, he's probably not hitting on all cylinders, and then you're the backup, and Trey Lance is a starter. You're not getting it all there. But also, like, you know, Jimmy G reminded us of all why they were in the quarterback market a few years ago and why this has been an issue. You know, it is unpredictable for him, too. And one of those, last night was one of those games, right, where we have games where Jimmy G looked good and he played good, but, you know, we had a bunch of these games down the stretch last year and other moments, too, where you just go, what the hell? He's played so much. How the hell could he do that? How could he throw that? How could he miss that read, right? Plays were left on the field. You know, and I get a little sick of, like, the 49ers have this record when Jimmy G starts. Okay, yeah, but I could give you 20 other quarterbacks that record would be just the same. It's not special. That's why they're trying to replace him there. And last night, hey, I was more hopeful for at least a better game, you know, attack and overall.
Yeah.
We know the Broncos defense is good. E.J. Evero has a pretty good feel for Shanahan. But, like, you know, it's moments like we broke down on a highlight show last night where they have a game plan specific play on the bunch receivers to the right. And Deebo Samuel's screaming down the right-hand sideline. He's wide open. Nobody's covering him. But for some reason, he decided not to listen to his coach who told him all week, wait, if we do this, we're going to mess them up on how they pass this 3-on-3 matchup up. And he looks over there for a second and gets off of it. And it's just like, wow, I guess he doesn't like throwing wide open touchdowns. We showed another play, right, where Deebo Samuel comes out of the backfield and acts like he's going to run like a little choice route and break inside, but he stutters and then goes up the left sideline. He's being covered by Josie Jewell. I mean, you might be able to beat Josie in a race. But instead, what happened, Naaman? What happened? Do you remember that throw?
The
Deebo Samuel down the left sideline. Remember that one? Like Deebo had to turn around and backpedal like he was catching a punt return.
And fell down.
And fell down out of bounds.
Rear,
where you go, if he just hits him running, he's going to run for a touchdown.
Yeah.
So points and plays left on the field, and then all of a sudden you're in a dogfight, and then all of a sudden you're backed up, and you forget that the end zone's 10 yards deep, and that you do that. And so Jimmy G did a great job of reminding everybody why Shanahan and company traded to get the third pick of the draft, even though that can be questionable too. I get that.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was not pretty on that side of the ball by him by any stretch of the imagination.
Yeah, and it wasn't pretty when they were backed up near their own goal line, near their own end zone, and then Jimmy G pulled a Danny O.
In some ways worse than a Danny O.
Danny O was really he really spent a lot of time out of bounds when he was running around back there. But Dan Orlovsky was obviously watching that game because he's a football game. He tweeted out this morning, a Step Brothers with Dan Orlovsky's face there. If you're familiar with the play, Dan Orlovsky with my Detroit Lions was sprinting around, scrambling.
Took about 7 steps out of bounds.
Well out of the back of the end zone. Jimmy G just had 2 feet, he was barely out of the end zone. But he was out, and Kyle Shanahan after the game took the blame on that. Said it was a bad call, put him in a bad spot.
He said all the
there.
right things.
But the funny thing is like that wasn't even the worst part of that play. The worst part of that play came after he stepped out of bounds.
That's where I was going to say it's worse than what Orlovsky did. First off, you're dropping back, right? You're setting up. You got to have an awareness of knowing, wait, I can't go back. Like, back is not an option here. The fact that does not go through his brain, to me, is unbelievable. Again, I think most quarterbacks are so paranoid about that when they get in that situation. They can't even, maybe make the right read or the right throw because they're like, oh, gosh, I can't. It's back there. It's back there. The fact that he could be that oblivious to it, to me, it's almost admirable. I just go, oh, my gosh, ignorance is bliss. It's unreal. But at the same time, too, like you said, it was just going to throw the ball to covered people in the flat, backed up, and give them a pick 6 if he doesn't step out of bounds. I mean, that was remarkable, too. So it was ugly on that side of the ball. 49ers made plenty of mistakes in the football game, and they have plenty of experience of, that kind of game, and then you leave the ball in Russell Wilson's hands late in the game. Yeah, Russell Wilson's going to outduel Jimmy Garoppolo in that situation, and that's what he did.
That was cool. There were some turnovers in the game, 2 fumbles, an interception by the 49ers, and I'm sorry, Denver Bronco fans, if you're tuning in, you're like, come on, we actually won this game, and they did. They had that 12-play, 80-yard drive.
Yep.
Put it all together at the end of the game when it all mattered. But up until that point, I'm sorry, Broncos fans, was not very good. No. Russell Wilson, 9 3-and-outs, most in a game in Wilson's career, most by by Denver in a single game since 1991. It just it looks off. You don't know if it's still Nathaniel Hackett trying to figure out Russell Wilson, vice versa. But you mentioned it plenty of times. Russ just doesn't look like the Russ that we've seen in the past.
No, I think
not yet.
Yeah, you're right. And I don't know. We'll see what happens. I mean, the one thing that I go, not yet, when I go, and you say not yet, and I go, I don't know if it's going to happen or not, is Russell Wilson magic, right? I think you've heard me enough over the last year ago. I do think he's lost a step. We don't see very many plays of him scrambling or making those plays anymore. I mean, I get a lot of questions on social media of why doesn't Russell scramble and run like he used to? I don't think he can to the same degree. I don't. We know we were talking about before, after the game last night, like his rushing it's certainly not what it was early in his career, not only because of read options and stuff like that, but his ability to wait, I don't like what I see, and now I can hit a gap and run for 15 yards. He doesn't do that anymore either, right? So there's a little concern with me there with Russell Wilson. I think when you couple that together with my second concern with Russell Wilson is lack of being a rhythm thrower, right? It's so rare, and especially if it's over the middle of the field, he can't see it. He doesn't want to throw it. He doesn't trust it unless he can see it so clear and plain as day that, okay, wait, he is wide open, I'll throw it. And as you've heard me explain before, for quarterbacks, hey, taller, yes, you have an advantage. You can see over guys a little bit more, but it's like you got to process information, and it's little frames, still shots of oh wait, there's a window. All right, there's another window. He's in there, and you got to be able to have a feel of wait. That window to throw in, and I know what coverage they're in, and this guy shouldn't be here, and you got to be able to trust that. He doesn't trust that, so he throws very few balls in rhythm over the middle of the field that hurts them that way. And then I think you add that also into, no scrambling, doesn't do that great, and they're learning their way in a new offense under Nathaniel Hackett. And let's not forget, the 49ers will be one of the 3 or 4 best defenses in football when it's all said and done. There's no doubt about that. To where, things were hard.
Yeah.
Credit to them for not making all the up mistakes that the 49ers did.
Yeah.
That's
ourselves to punt.
Allow ourselves to punt.
Times.
We'll play an ugly game. We have Russell Wilson, and we think that you give us the ball back late in the game down a score, we'll win because of him.
We've seen that in the past.
We've seen that in the past. Exactly right.
They've played that way in the past. But who knows? That's a good question. Has he lost a step? One guy that I don't think has lost a step and actually may have gained a step, if that's possible. Lamar Jackson will give him a damn okay in the Ravens win over the Patriots.
We need to give him 2 of them or 3 of them.
Well, let's take a look at his numbers from Week 3 because they are insane. It is his 7th career game with 200 or more passing yards, 100 or more rushing yards. No other player since 1950. Pete, you can't go back before 1950? I feel like we should go back before 1950. No player since 1950 has more than 3 of those games. If you're watching here, over 200 through the air, 100 on the ground. I think right now, if the season were to end today for some bad reason, he's the MVP. Do you agree?
I think I do. Yeah, I do. Yeah, probably.
Right.
Who
else would it be?
Jalen Hurts, Josh Allen, right? I think we're kind of naming the guys that are at the top of the list there. But this is where we get in this conversation. People probably want to throw 2 in that conversation. I just go, see, this is a different animal of what Lamar and Josh Allen have to do for their football team. First off, I don't think Baltimore's defense is all that in a bag of chips, all right? Again, they don't really have a very good running game, as we saw. He is the running game. And then his throwing is off the charts good. It's off the charts good. They don't always get optimal looks because of the running game. Not always. People don't respect it the way they used to 2 or 3 years ago. And, they're still finding their way with their weapons. Rashad Bateman looks like he is the real deal. I will say that. And we know Mark Andrews is real too. But, yes, Lamar is off the charts good. He really is. I think you couple that with his playmaking ability and then, the Patriots being sloppy and turning the ball over and doing some dumb stuff themselves, Baltimore got the big win on the road.
Easy Money Chive says, last week you said Allen and Mahomes are in a class of their own. Do you think Lamar Jackson should be considered to be in that class?
I do. I do. Right now I do. The only reason I didn't throw him in there a little bit is just last year was not his best year, right? There were some choppy parts of the season. altogether. I probably should have thrown him in that conversation last week. I feel like I said some of that stuff when we were talking about the Dolphins game.
Yeah.
I mean, it's special what he's doing. And yes, I would throw him in that class. I would. And you know, in a lot of ways, he's playing cleaner football than Patrick Mahomes right now. I know Patrick Mahomes just threw his first interception of the year, but I mean, he had like 3 dropped against the Chargers, and he's gotten away with a few too. Yeah, I just think with Lamar, what he does, his skill set, the fact that the team's built around him and what he does there, it's really been like really, really special. And man, is he going to put them in a bind if he keeps playing like this?
Other side of the ball, Mac Jones had 3 interceptions, weren't great, although did throw for over 300 yards when asked to bring him down the field. We saw him leave the game. Afterwards, reports of a high ankle sprain last night. Bill Belichick talked about it this morning, said, quote, just quickly on Mac, really no update on him, nothing definitive at this point. Hope that he can get back out there and play again. And you didn't like the hit that hit him, took him out of the game. Calais Campbell basically jumped on him and put his whole weight on him and then brought him down.
He left the ground, grabbed his shoulders, and did the dead weight, right? That to me is a very dangerous thing in football right now. And yeah, I don't think there was any reason for that. Calais Campbell, I know, is not a dirty player, but yeah, that was. I wonder if he'll get fined for it. I do. You know, just for almost the dead weight rule. I don't know how that goes, but yeah, I thought that was a little maybe unnecessary. But Mac Jones made a ton of really good throws and plays in the game. I mean, they had it going with Devontae Parker and company, but his 3 interceptions. You know, they were all bad. Especially, the last one where he got his ankle hurt and they're down, he's got to press the issue. It was bad, but okay, I don't worry about that. The 2 before that were bad, where I can't believe Mac Jones just threw that right there. I'm shocked by it. I really am. I mean, he had the one down in field goal territory, right? They're in the red zone. He's off his back foot and throws it up to Marlon Humphrey. And then I think the Josh Bynes interception, he's got a guy in the middle of the field and just didn't see him, if I remember correctly. I think that's about how it shook out there. But yeah, I found those to be bad interceptions, you know, and then you couple you couple that with the guy on the other side of the field and Lamar, you're going to be in big trouble that way. You know, so that was a big win for the Ravens.
Yep.
Definitely, it wasn't an easy win either. They had to rely on some of their playmakers to make some big plays.
Yeah, credit to the Ravens for forcing some of those turnovers,
right.
Especially
Hamilton,
the fumble. Kyle Hamilton,
right? That was a big moment.
Aguilar had that big play. Kyle Hamilton hit it, got it out of there. So Ravens get the win. They look pretty good. The Jaguars. Speaking of defenses that have impressed early on in this season, the Jaguars get the win, are damn okay. And their win over the Chargers goes to Devin Lloyd, guy out of Utah, correct?
Yes, sir.
7 tackles, had an interception, 3 passes defensed. He is the first NFL linebacker since 2015 with 2 interceptions in his first 3 career games. There's the nugget of the day on Devin Lloyd. Here's another one of those things where if you're listening to this podcast, back in the preseason, you saw him in the first preseason game, the Hall of Fame kickoff game. You go, dang. That Jaguars defense they look the part.
The whole team
looks the part. Yeah, they look big. They look good. Trevor looks better.
Right.
Man, that was as impressive a win as we saw yesterday. What'd you think of it?
I would watch out for the Jaguars. Where I kept saying I don't know if they're going to make the playoffs and be a pain in the butt here, and be like they watch out. There's not a weakness on their football team. That's where the thing that just as I watch here, I just go. Tell me the area. The one we questioned the offensive line a little bit. I mean, they did a pretty good job yesterday. I didn't hear, I know Bosa got hurt, but I didn't hear Bosa, Khalil Mack, or any of those guys' names very often, right? So the O-line, and we didn't hear anything with the Colts the week before and their pass rushers and DeForest Buckner and Yannick Ngakoue and Kwity Paye. So that part's good. And then they can run the ball, and Trevor Lawrence is playing phenomenal. And then you couple that with, my man crush, the defense, on all 3 levels, and then they're really well coached by defensive coordinator Mike Caldwell. Yes, they're real, and I still think the Chargers are real too. I really do. Hey, it's heartbreaking loss. Herbert playing injured a little bit, and things kind of just got rolling the wrong direction here. It was a 16-10 game with 12 minutes left in the third quarter. But after that, it just seemed like Herbert was holding the ball, couldn't see anybody open. He was under pressure, and the Jaguars just kind of put their foot on their throat and made some long, tough drives to score touchdowns and really put the game away to where the Chargers were out of reach.
Yeah, Spaghetti Boy fan account. You asked if the Jaguars are for real. Chris gave the answer right there. You think this is real?
I do think this is real.
They're in the are they in the playoff conversation?
They
now?
are, for me, for sure. I always said I thought they were the team to watch out that could come out of nowhere to maybe be in the playoffs. After seeing 3 weeks of play here, I would go, yeah, they're a playoff caliber team. There's no doubt about it. And the way he's spreading the ball around, their run game, they have balance that way. There's a lot to like about the way they're playing, and like you said too, there's playmakers too. It doesn't always have to go as planned. They have guys that can go above and beyond. Devin Lloyd's a freak of nature in the middle of that defense. And then you add that with the pass rushers and Luke Quan is the other linebacker in the secondary. Yeah, they're a really good football team that I think is here to stay and going to be a major player in the AFC.
Yeah, Josh Allen had career-high 8 quarterback pressures against a quarterback that didn't need those pressures with Justin Herbert playing despite the rib cartilage injury, I guess is what it is. And he was out there for the whole game, too. Played the final drive even though they were down 28 points with 5 minutes left. Brandon Staley saying, quote, he wanted to be out there with his teammates. Herbert said after the game, it's what the team needs. Sometimes you have to put your goals and everything behind the team. I felt like I was safe out there. I mean, it's really easy to question the decision to play him one in this game because it did look like he was in pain.
Right.
But certainly to play him at the end of the game. Do you question both of those things?
I don't question the end of the game, yes. I did not understand why it was 38-10 or even 29-10 at late in the game where I'm going just get him out. Let's live to play another day. It's not your day, Chargers, and let's move on. So that I didn't starting. I have no problem with that. Again, that's where he's a grown man. You got to feel it out a little bit. I even think Justin Herbert at 90% is better than Chase Daniel, definitely. And this wasn't like, oh, Justin Herbert's struggling because. I didn't go, oh, man, he's really struggling because his ribs and all that. They struggled. They struggled because Jacksonville's defense is real. And this is where I worry about the Chargers a little bit. Little lack of a running game. You've heard me talk about lack of creativity with big plays from their offense. And then can their defense stop the running game? Those are the three things we got to watch with them on that side of the ball. Herbert's going to manage this. He'll be okay. But that was a tough group they ran into.
Yeah.
Jacksonville's believing right now. And here's another aspect of the game that I thought was huge, okay, just to hit on this because I'm going through my notes here and looking a little. It's like the first 2 drives of the game, Doug Peterson almost went for it on 4th and short when they were down there close to the field goal, right? And didn't do it. Kicked the field goal. Got positive momentum going to where I feel like old Doug Peterson was like, oh, it, we're going for it, right? So they got on the board going up 6-0, right? So got up, and what'd you say, Pete?
It was 4th and 3.
Yeah, right. So you had a 4th and 3 in the 4th where they lined up like they were going to go for it, and then they said, oh, wait, let's not do it. Let's kick the field goal. I thought that was really positive. And then what happens? We're up 6-0. We got some positive vibes going. Justin Herbert drops back to pass. And I believe he got strip sacked, and that left a short field, and then they finally scored the touchdown. And you go, hey, we're up 13-0. So that, to me, was big part of the game. They got in control of the game, and then as the game went on, Doug went for it, I think, once or twice on 4th down to help them get over it, right?
Yeah, they converted a couple of them.
Yeah, they did,
2 for 3 on 4th down.
That was the right thing, though.
Yeah.
Not early on. Get your young team confidence. Get them, hey, we believe we can win this game on the road. We're up 3-0. We're up 6-0. And, that gets everybody going and gets the pass rush going. And, what was it? The interception set up the first field goal, right? Or second field goal to make it 6-0. I think you're correct, right? Yep. And then we had the fumble led to the touchdown, right? So those were big plays, and they got a lot of playmakers on that Jacksonville team.
One of them is Trevor Lawrence on offense. Maybe we got to take a look at him on Wednesday. Maybe we'll take a closer look at Trevor.
No doubt.
This might have been his best game as a pro. Probably was, right?
Yeah, it's up there.
First career game with 3 touchdown passes.
I feel like he's the last 4 games, though, we've said that maybe 3 times now.
Sure,
so that's a positive thing here that they're getting the number 1 pick looking like he should.
There's a guy in L.A. with that other L.A. team that's had a lot of good games. Aaron Donald had another one. Damn okay goes to him as the Rams defeat the Cardinals 20-12. He notched his 100th career sack in the first quarter, became just the second player to primarily played defensive tackle and earned 100-plus sacks. He's just a different type of player since 1982. John Randall was the other one. I could have quizzed you on that. Would you have known that?
He would have been up there. He would have been up there on one of my guesses for sure.
So he was terrorizing Kyler Murray and the Arizona Cardinals offense, who Kyler still threw for over 300 yards, but it took 58 passes to get there. And I want to kind of start with this because there's a soundbite out there that Pete uncovered with Kyler Murray after the game talking about his receivers. Do we have that, Pete?
I tell guys all the time, always never, you got to be awake playing with me. I mean, it's no matter what the play is, I got free reign to do whatever, get into whatever. So when you sleep and you don't think you're getting the ball, we can't play like that.
No, he kind of called out his receivers.
Yeah,
it's
I guess he's not happy.
I wonder who he's talking about there.
I don't know. I mean, I'd have to go back and look at specific plays.
Unusual to hear that, though.
It is unusual to hear that. It is.
What do you make of it?
Well, he's frustrated. I mean, nothing's been easy. Even though they came back last week, like we talked about, it just was like, hey, we opened it up and he's running, and it wasn't easy even with that. Like you just said, the stat line to me that's the most concerning. We got to throw it 58 times to get 314 yards. That sucks. Like, I don't know any other way to say it. They can't make plays on the offensive side of the ball. They can't get things going. It's a lot of, 4-yard completion here, 3-yard completion here. Well, I jammed it in between two people for 4 yards. Whoop-de-f***ing do. Again, that's where they're an annoying offense to watch. They are. And there's no rhythm. And like I've talked about, I don't know if they really call plays to attack things either. I like the fact that just open it up and let it go like we talked about, yes. But I don't think there's like a surgicality in how they try to attack defenses that way. So and then he can't run and make those plays against this defense and Aaron Donald, who's the best defensive tackle in the history of football. So that's where it becomes harder, too. Oh, they keep him in the pocket. Now you can't make all these highlight-type plays, and now it goes back to the offense a little bit. Well, who's going to get open? How are we going to make some plays? And they just lack the imagination and some of the ability there to make some of those big plays in the pass game.
Which we saw on the other side of the ball. Some big passing plays from Matthew Stafford, who it only took him 25 passes to get 249 yards in the game. So that was a positive for the Rams. Another positive was the running game got going. Cam Akers, 61 yards on 12 carries and a touchdown. Cooper Kupp, untouched on a 20-yard run. First rushing touchdown.
Which was shocking, right?
Of his career. Yeah, it was kind of shocking. For the Rams, as a solid win where it didn't seem like the game was ever in doubt for them, even though it's only an 8-point spread. Right.
It was the Rams, I think, are still a work in progress on the offensive side of the ball right now. They certainly don't seem like they've got the same magic they had last year. I mean, I know last year even, hey, there were some spotty moments and all that, but we were always like, wow, they're explosive and they can make plays. They haven't seemed to regain that form quite yet. They haven't seemed to find the other guy that can stress you out in their offense other than Cooper Kupp yet. And then the run game, is coming along, but not special yet. I thought Cam Akers looked pretty damn good yesterday, so that was encouraging. He had the fumble at the 1-yard line that made this game a little bit more interesting than it needed to be, right? But it almost feels like Rams Jared Goff football right now, where it's just like, hey, we're going to play defense, and hey, Stafford, just be smart and don't take too many chances, and we'll win the game kind of ugly as we kind of find our footing on the offensive side of the ball here. But good win nonetheless, and they're battling. I don't think the Rams are playing their best football here, but they're 2-1, and that's at least a positive.
2 more games to go, and for that, we'll play a little game we like to call Give Me the Headlines, presented by Hyundai. This is where Chris is working as a newspaper editor, a headline writer, and we'll start with the Vikings come back and beat my Detroit Lions. This game sucked.
Yeah.
28-24 was the final score. Your headline is?
The Wizard of Os-bourn.
Yeah.
Yes.
228-yard, I was watching.
Oh, you were? Darn.
228-yard catches at the end. The last one was the game-winning touchdown, ended with 73 yards. The Lions never put them away. They had the lead the whole game until the end, and they never put him away, which, as a Lions fan, this happens quite a bit. I mean, I guess the positive was that we held Justin Jefferson to a career-low 14 yards, so that was cool. But the Vikings did just enough to win, and the Lions did just enough to lose. What was your impression of the game?
Yeah, I mean, I'm encouraged by the Lions' offense.
Yeah.
I don't know how you can't be. There's a lot of things to be like about that side of the ball. Their offense is playing good enough for you guys to win football games. I don't look at that. It's the defense that seems to just – the dam breaks too often. You know, we saw it in week 1 against the Eagles. We saw it a little in the second half against Washington in week 2. I know they won, and, you know, the offense really made the plays to kind of put the game away. And then here again, 24-14, you're feeling good about things, but I didn't feel like, oh, wow, this one's in the bag. Like, you felt like Kirk Cousins in that run game, and they were going to make some plays in the pass game. And then I think you couple that with, you know, a little bit of fourth down misses and all of that, which is a tough conversation. I don't know how to get my head around this with Dan Campbell a little bit with going for it on fourth down.
So there were good and bad. They went for it on fourth down 6 times from early on in the game to late in the game, except for the last final one. So the ones that were good was one led to the eventual touchdown to make it 7-0. 2 more on a drive that made it 14-0. And so he was aggressive early, and it cashed in some 7 points. End of the game is where the questions are coming. Dead to head says, why did Campbell go for the 54-yard field goal on fourth down with a minute left when either going for the yardage or punting for a deeper field were clearly better options there? They missed the field goal, and then a short field for the Vikings when they scored their game-winning touchdown.
And they missed a fourth down. Well, they missed a fourth down at midfield that gave the Vikings
the possession before.
So that was the possession before. Mm-hmm. I think he was scarred by that. I mean, honestly, that's really what the big thing is. I think the thing is I wrap my head around the situation, around this a little bit more as well, is just the, hey, if that's your mantra for the day, go for it. Go with it. Like you said, there's been some positive things, certainly, you know, but if you're going to go for it 6 times, did you think you were going to make it all 6 times? I mean, that would be incredible. That would be amazing. You're obviously going to get stopped once or twice. So if that's your plan for the day, to be aggressive and attack on that side of the ball, and, you know, your offense is kind of the positive, and they were rolling at certain points of this football game, then go with it. You know, you can't let the 2 times you didn't make it infiltrate your brain and make you forget about the 4 times you did make it. You know, I know the first time they didn't make it early in the game, right? It was 14-7. They gave the Vikings the ball at midfield. They went down and scored a touchdown and made it 14-all.
Yep.
Right? And then there's that one right there that you're talking about where they don't get it, and that leads to the Vikings going down and scoring the touchdown, right?
No, they
didn't get anything right. They ended up kicking it back to Detroit. And then Detroit went back down and then missed the field goal, right? Is that
I don't know if they kicked it or if it was turnover on downs. I can't remember. I got to take a look at that. But yeah, they didn't score on that one. But it was a turnover on downs.
It was a turnover on downs. Yeah. So, but but either way, I think the defense is the part of the football team that I look at that's got to be a little bit better.
How about the Vikings?
Things seem too easy.
How about the credit where credit is due?
Yeah.
The Minnesota Vikings 2-1. And I mean, they're in the playoff mix, right? Obviously some weaknesses, but they've got enough explosiveness on offense.
Yeah, I think their D-line's better than I thought it was. You know, their linebackers are solid. They're pretty well coached on the defensive side of the ball, and we know on offense they got some playmakers. So yeah, I do think they're certainly a playoff caliber team. In the NFC, without a doubt. Cousins is playing good. It's not special. You know, Dalvin Cook, we'll see how that shoulder injury is because he got a little banged up in the football game. But it's just like we saw yesterday. When they can run the ball a little bit, man, it just opens up the field in the pass game for them in a major way to where, you know, they can rip off some chunk pass yards in a hurry.
A victory from a team in the NFC North was going to happen either way in that game, but the Vikings get it. The NFC North also got a win with the Chicago Bears defeating the Texans 23-20. Your headline there?
My headline there is the show must Roquan.
Oh, very good. Very good,
you.
Pete. Well done, Pete.
Way to go, Chris. I mean, Pete.
16 tackles, 2 of them for a loss.
Yeah.
Had the interception at the end of the game that set up the game-winning field goal. So he was awesome. Made some plays on defense. The Bears' rushing attack was awesome. 281 rush yards, most by a Chicago team since 1984. Yeah, some things weren't great, like their passing attack, but you play good defense, you make some turnover plays and you run the ball like that, that's going to be a winning formula.
It is. I mean, they made mistakes yesterday, but run the ball, defense doesn't get out of position a whole lot. I think those are the encouraging things. It's an ugly 2-1 Chicago football team right now. It is. It was ugly quarterback play by both teams yesterday, certainly. But the game kind of played the way I thought, really. I thought it would be a field goal type of game, and I honestly kind of boiled it down to Justin Fields will make a play or two that Davis Mills won't, and that'll be the difference in the game. That wasn't the case necessarily either. It was the running game of the Bears altogether that was impressive. But all in all, I think one of the things that I'll take away from this game a little bit is just that the Bears, the way Justin Fields looks and the way they're playing on offense is a little concerning. All right? Like, I watched a little of that film this morning while I was eating breakfast because I was like, man, what is going on with the Bears in the passing game? It's a little concerning. Justin Fields not very accurate throwing the football right now. And I would also say that it's a little bit of the way they're calling the game almost makes me feel like they don't trust him a little bit. They're trying to – there's a few drop back passes where I told you before the show, people are open and I don't know what he's looking at. And I think they're going, oh, gosh, well, that's scary. I don't know what he's doing there. So let's just call it a simple bootleg play. And then that becomes predictable because teams are ready for that with Justin Fields and the Bears and all of that too. So they're a little concerning on the offensive side of the ball. But either way, 2-1, ugly, and good for them getting the win. The Texans, again, another good effort, but just don't have enough playmakers, don't have the quarterback. They're missing a few things on their team to help them get over the edge and win games.
Yeah, they're still looking for their first win. There's only 2 winless teams in the NFL right now after 3 weeks, the Texans and the Las Vegas Raiders. That was Give Me the Headlines, presented by Hyundai. We are almost done, but we got one more game because we got another undefeated team, another team that can go 3-0 and join the Eagles. And who else is 3-0 right now? The Miami Dolphins. It could be the New York Giants taking on the Cowboys Monday Night Football. Our BetMGM Monday Night Football pick. So, Chris, on Thursday's pod, you said that the Giants were going to win by 3, 16-13, so low-scoring game. The over-under is 39.
Right.
Giants favored by a point. So you bet the under. You think the Giants win and cover. Are you You've never flip-flopped on Thursday, Chris.
I'm not.
You standing by Chris?
I'm standing by there Thursday, for sure. Chris. I am. I mean, this is going to be interesting. It's going to be ugly. I expect it to be. I do. I just think the emotions of the stadium, the fact that the Giants are 2-0 for the first time in forever. It's Cooper Rush and the Cowboys coming to town, so you can smell us 3-0, right? It's there to be had. I think that'll get us over the edge a little bit in this one. It's not going to be easy. I mean, you certainly sit here and go, hey, Dallas is – maybe the more talented team, but I don't think it's by much. And the big thing that you've heard me say about the Giants, they're better on defense. They've not been letting up a lot of big plays. That's been encouraging. And then, on the other side of the ball, Daniel Jones has been very good. He really has. He's under pressure a lot. He's been getting the ball out of his hands quickly. He's been taking care of the ball. And they got a little run game to go along with it. And they're comfortable just being in a one-score game late in the game and saying we're going to pull it out. And I kind of feel like it's going to be that kind of game once again tonight.
There's a prop bet out there, Cooper Rush and Daniel Jones. Cooper Rush's over-under for passing yards is 205.5. Daniel Jones is 198.5. Got any strong feelings either way there?
Well, I feel like Cooper Rush will have the more passing yards, if you're going to give me that. Because, first off, I think the Giants know who they are. They know they're not great pass protecting. Dallas can rush the passer a little bit, as we saw last week against the Bengals. So I think they're going to limit the opportunities of, hey, let's hold the ball, pat it 2 or 3 times, and get strip sack fumbled, right? And they're going to run the ball a little bit. I think that's where the Giants know who they are, at least. That's what's giving them a chance that way. The Cowboys, I don't think are going to be able to run the football, and we'll have to rely on the pass game to a degree. But either way, I don't think it's going to be like some huge statistical explosion by Cooper Rush. I think he just edges out Daniel Jones in passing yards. But where Daniel's better, too, is Daniel's going to make a few plays with his legs that he does every game. And his ability to keep the ball off the read option is a real threat and opens up Saquon Barkley that way, too. So that's an advantage he certainly gives the Giants offense a little bit.
Here's the question I have for Cooper Rush.
Yeah.
How will he handle being booed by the Sims family.
Oh,
who
I know.
will be at the game.
We're going to boo the hell out of him, too. And all the Cowboys. We're going to boo him. If I see Jerry, I'm going to boo him, too. Boo you, Jerry.
Are you going to get there early and go anywhere that normal fans can't go? Because you've already said you're going to sit with the fans. You're going to sit with us common people during the game. What about before the game?
No, we're going to be in the parking lot.
Okay.
And the wife is making some, like, Italian heroes.
You're tailgating?
We're going to, like, tailgate, like, a little bit. And then walk in with the masses.
Wow.
That's what we're doing. No field passes or hootie tootie. We're in the box or anything like that. No, I did get offered by somebody if I wanted a field pass. I was like, no, it's all right. It's all good. We're gonna watch the game and be in the stands and root for Big Blue.
Yeah, you could have got it for Pete. A Giants fan as well.
Maybe we'll see one day.
So that's cool. Are you going to wear a hat so people can't recognize you, or will you wear a Sims jersey?
No. Well, it's in whiteout. They're going white out tonight.
That's right.
Right. So I'm going to wear a white hoodie is what I'm going to wear.
Okay.
We'll see if I buy something at the stadium maybe to put over that. But no hat. I'm not a hat guy. I don't like. It just gets annoying on my head after a while.
Yes.
So we're going to be just sitting there and watching the game, and I'll talk to some people, and I'm sure I'll have some people go, "Hey, aren't you Chris Sims?" and all of that, but we're going to have fun with it. It's going to be a good night.
I want to know the over-under on autographs signed. What do you think? Autographs signed while you're out there.
I don't think it'll be crazy. I get more of just like, hey, shake your hand.
Get a picture with me, maybe.
Yeah, right. Can you take a selfie?
Yeah.
Hey, we're big fans of your dad. Tell him, we said hi. Like that's the kind of crap I'll get tonight.
We'll recap it on Wednesday.
Right.
One thing I do know, though, Chris, the action never stops at BetMGM.
No, it does not.
You can sign up now using the bonus code SIMS. And your first wager's risk-free up to $1,000.
Wow. So say you bet $100 on Daniel Jones to score a TD.
Yeah.
If you win, you'll get $240. But if you lose, you'll still get $100 worth of free bets. Sounds like kind of a win-win there.
Sounds like a win-win. Simply download the BetMGM app today or go to betmgm.com. Enter the bonus code SIMS to make your first wager risk-free up to $1,000. Chris, we did it again.
We did it, baby.
We got through all the games. We need some buys.
Yeah.
We need some buys because
do.
We're keeping Kristen here well past her bedtime. She's got to get up early like you do tomorrow. And buys start week 6, according to
6. Damn, I thought it was week 4. Damn it, that stinks.
It sucks.
We're still in the. It really is for somebody like me. It's very frustrating with all these games.
Yeah,
because I like to know, and I like to know details, and I know there's little details of every game here that I don't know, and that's where now I'm in catch-up mode, and gonna be breaking down film for the Wednesday podcast, and we'll break it all down and all the interesting aspects. And please send in the games you might want me to break down, look at further, plays you want to look at further. Ahmed and me will be all over it for the Wednesday podcast, and hopefully everybody can enjoy the more in-depth breakdown then.
I like Wednesdays. Treasure Hunters edition.
You will be back. Nicolas Cage and Harrison Ford will be back again.
We'll be back.
I don't know, even though last time you looked like you wanted to be like a coal miner. I don't know what you were doing with your yellow hat in the spotlight.
Spelunking.
You were like a minion.
I don't know what you were. Spelunking, yeah.
All right, everybody. Monday Night Football. Enjoy it. The G-Men and the Cowboys will be here. Keep sending in the questions, homies. Hope everybody's good. Ahmed, you the man. Thanks for leading the charge once again. Clap it up. Thanks for watching, homies. Hit subscribe to see all my Unbuttoned videos. You get to see me, Ahmed Fareed, all the big player breakdowns, game breakdowns, player interviews, and my film analysis. So please subscribe. Chris Sims Unbuttoned. Peace out.